It's preparing. Not yet. All right, we are live.
Yes, yes. Make sure everything is
We're live.
okay. Bam. All right. Welcome everybody. As you know, this is the beginning of the show. We got to send out the links. Y'all know. But please let us know how your week's been. As you see, we do have another guest with us today.
Special guest. We have a
Special
special
guest.
guest.
Special guest.
Yes.
Excuse me. We have a special guest with us. Um, so just give us a quick second while we send out these links. Let us know how your week's been since last week, since you joined us last week in the description
Yeah.
or in the comments. Uh, I like reading those and like knowing how you guys been doing. So just bear with us a couple moments
We really
while we
need
get this
some. We
together.
need more assistance here to send these links out. Like this is,
Yeah,
but
I mean, you know,
but what happens is we also have, like, we forgot to tell you, we have this great chat group that jumps in the chat. So they'll,
Oh,
well,
great.
we
Looking
won't
forward
read
to
their,
it.
yeah, we won't read their questions. I don't know if we'll have time, but they get to talk to one another. So it's really cool that they do that.
oh yeah, the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some of the best guest views.
Yes, we
They're
do.
like family. They're smart. Yeah, they always have great uh, like counterpoints or different perspectives. Or if we may forget something, boom, it's in the chat. All the information. So we got
Good. Okay.
some of the best viewers uh, uh, on YouTube. I guess I'm gonna just be honest. Some of the best on YouTube. All right,
Did I beat you?
almost done. Might have.
I'm always the slow one,
No,
but
I
I'm
think you
not.
got me today.
No, I'm not really ready. I'm just. I'm not really ready. Yeah, we're waiting patiently, and that allows people to get into the chat as well. I think I saw one
Okay.
person. Hi, Mary. We have someone all the way from Holland here.
Holland.
Yes,
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
yes, yes,
International. Oh my
yes,
gosh. Okay.
yes,
Great.
yeah. You almost done there?
Almost. Um, my typing is not up to par
I don't
today.
know. It may be your eyes and not the typing.
I might need glasses. I'm over here doing the Mr. Crab typing. Don't mind me. Okay, here we go.
Well, that's
Yeah,
so.
I'm furiously typing away over here. If you can't hear the keyboard, come on.
We're gonna start the show. We're gonna let you keep typing.
Yeah, listen. At the rate I'm going. All right, there we go. I sent them out. I'm sorry, everyone. I apologize. Okay. All right, I'm done. I'm ready. You guys ready? I apologize. I apologize.
Oh, we're good.
I've
We're ready.
I've been moving slow.
It's
All
fine.
right. All right. Well, let me do this last one. I know. I
I'm
know.
done, but I'm not done.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm happy to have a Southern sister on the show.
Oh yes, look, I'm good. Just happy to be
Excellent.
joining you. We have time.
Oh, all right. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm ready. You guys are ready. So here we go. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time tuning in, we're a local online news show. We talk about local, national, and international news. I am your co-host, Mr. Casey.
And I'm
Oh,
Lana
you're on that
Quest.
side. There it is. There it is. Yeah, I didn't know which way to go, but
Mm.
as you guys can see, we do have a special guest with us today. We have Miss Erica Smith with us. Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. I don't have the
Yay.
the noise, the clap noise, but yeah. Woo! We're in an auditorium. Well, a lot of people. So thank you so much for joining us today and speaking with us. For some of the viewers who might not know who you are, let them know why you're here and what you do.
Okay, well, good evening. Hello to everybody out there on the What's Up People news world. I'm really excited to be joining you this evening. My name is Erica Smith. As Erin shared, I am a former 3-term state senator from North Carolina, and I am a candidate for U.S. Senate 2022. And so we're looking at a primary in North Carolina around March the 8th of 2022. So we're really excited. We have hit the campaign trail. Prior to being in the state Senate, I served 13 years as an engineer, and I've been an educator now for 17 years. Just from a down home east in a location in the South in North Carolina. And I'm just so happy to be joining you tonight.
Yay.
I know I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy. So I know Miss Quest is as well.
Yes.
Let's
go.
get right into it. Let's go.
All right. So my first question, I'm sorry, it's going to be like long-winded. Just get to writing. So environmental racism was said to be coined by Ben Chavis. Am I saying his name right? I know he's from North Carolina, right? I believe
Benjamin Chavis.
Yeah, Chavis. See, I know. Chavis, Ben Chavis. Over 40 years ago, when North Carolina dumped the 40,000 cubic yards of soil contamination with cancer-causing chemicals on the poor farming community in Warren County. Ben Chavis led the revolt. Like, this is all new to me. I didn't even hear about this until recently. So today, 2 of the biggest air quality problems in North Carolina are, that I read about, ground level ozone that's found in smog and particle pollution caused by emissions. Today, Black people are 4 times as likely to die from exposure to pollution than white folks. We are exposed to 38% more polluted air and 75% more likely to live in communities that border a plant or a factory. If sent to Congress as North Carolina's senator, what are some of your ideas that could help this administration end environmental racism?
Thank you for that question. And you couldn't have known this, but I live in Northampton County, which neighbors Warren County in North Carolina. And I can recall, I was in middle school at the time, but there was the toxic PCB dumping down the sides of the roads in this county that is predominantly African American. And still today, there are residual effects of being in an environment that has systemically and historically perpetuated toxic pollutions on Black and brown communities. Right. In North Carolina, we have a fight with, in Northampton County, our fight is against coal ash landfills. These poor, high poverty counties, too often, only the industries that want to come in and bring their toxic pollutants are interested in coming in and setting up shop in these counties. And we have got to continue to fight against that. I have always been an environmental champion, having grown up during that time, and what Benjamin Chavis was able to do to start the conversation where we start looking not only in North Carolina, but across this nation, we have this propensity to perpetuate this type of pollution on marginalized communities, poor communities, Black and brown communities. So what will I do? That is the main reason that I support the Green New Deal. Not only will it create millions of good paying jobs, paying a much better livable wage than what we have seen, but it will also address historic discrimination and racism by being able to address those issues of environmental racism. As a 3-term state senator, I won Senator of the Year by the League of Conservation Voters, Senator of the Year by the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association, and primarily that has been because of my fierce advocacy for clean air, clean water. I support the Thrive Act, and so I would anticipate a continuation of being able to support that if it doesn't pass in the U.S. Senate by the time that I get there. The Thrive Act alone will bring 300,000 jobs to North Carolina, just in the Thrive Act. And so my proposal supports cutting our carbon emissions, supporting green transportation, supporting solar, supporting wind as well, and the other components of the Green New Deal.
Wow. You go, Erica.
Let's go.
That's amazing.
Let's go.
It's like, where do I sign up, man?
Right?
So energizing. Another question I have. There was a consultant's report that showed that North Carolina lost ground in the area of public education. I mean, and it's not just North Carolina. So let's just say that it's a lot of states, probably including our own here, mainly due to Republican lawmakers putting tax cuts ahead of school funding. Not a surprise. The report said that the state needs to spend approximately $8 billion over the next 8 years to help provide students a sound basic education. If you're sent to Congress, how would you address putting revenue back into the public schools?
Absolutely. I'm a public school educator myself. I have been so for the last 17 years. And the first thing that we need to do is to continue to remove those barriers and obstacles that were put in place on the previous administration by having a Secretary of Education there, Betsy DeVos, who had never spent a day in a public school. And just really, to me, she had no reference point of understanding the investments that truly are needed in public education. And so I was a firm supporter of Nelson Mandela. And one of my favorite quotes by him is that a quality education is the greatest civil rights tool of the 21st century. When we look at the capacity of what a quality education can do, it is the best tool that we have for changing the socioeconomic status and being able to lift generations of folks out of poverty. And so some of the things that I will do is to make sure that we have a strong plan for federal infrastructure investments that will be delivered to the state by state, and to help their statewide elected chambers be able to invest in quality education for the students, building productive citizens. We're going to necessarily have to include more appropriations and fundings that were in the CARES Act to address the mental health crisis that's developed, particularly among our children. Our children are not okay. They've been in isolated situations. We've had an all-time high of unprecedented amounts of suicide by young children, school-age children. Being able to protect children from mass shootings in our schools. And so it is a very detailed process, but it would include some of the appropriations that were done during the CARES Act to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place, that our students can have a quality education. We need to expand broadband access. The communities where I live in rural North Carolina. And I'm hopeful, knock on wood, that I'm able to hold this Zoom signal throughout the duration of our interview. Because when we start buffering, I had to stop the graduate program because my internet was so slow. And so I am a firm supporter of making sure we have those investments in education and being able to educate our children. And another thing that I will do, if that lunacy is perpetuated about taking critical race theory, taking out and understanding it, teaching a revisionist history that does not deal with the systemic discrimination and racism and how that has impacted African descendants of slavery in this country. I am going to fight to maintain the curriculum so that we know the truth and that we're able to build a more just society.
Right. And that's great because
I-
Casey and we were just talking about a teacher in New York made an assignment for the kids to basically tell why Chauvin did not kill George Floyd with his knee. Like that was the assignment. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to X out,
They're
you
trying to
know.
rewrite history. They're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to be revisionist. And so
Right.
if we're ever going to deal with the systemic discrimination and racism in this country, we have to deal with it head on, and we have to confront it. And we have to provide educational tools and a better
Right.
understanding. And then we need to put those correctives in place so we can have a more just society.
It's so insane because it's literally state to state. It depends on what state you're in because
I know.
my 12-year-old read Malcolm X last month. You know, with the teacher, they sent the email. They asked, you know, is it okay? It's going to be, you know, the N word is in here. We're going to discuss these things with the kids. But they read it. I didn't read that until I was out of high school. That
I
is when I read
know.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
like,
as we talk more about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I have really welcomed that in the educational space because it empowers us to embrace diversity and become better people, better citizens. And with that diversity, we have better outcomes across the board.
right. Absolutely. My last question, we'll move along so Casey can ask his questions. And this is gonna segue right into the last question that you answered. Another top issue of North Carolina is the shrinking rural-urban divide, shrinking it. North Carolina, I guess people are saying it's basically two states. It's the one state consists of like fast-growing cities, banking, higher education, biotechnology, computer science, and then there's the rural areas that's struggling to get broadband, you know, losing population and struggling to maintain schools and local hospitals. So between 2010 and 2018, almost half of North Carolina counties saw a net loss of people. If elected, what would you do to strengthen the urban rural ties?
Okay. In my 3 terms in the North Carolina Senate, North Carolina has 100 counties, and we break them up into the 40 most economically distressed counties. They're tier 1 counties. Our tier 2 counties are the next 40, and then we have the 20 that are left, which we call the urban centers, where you have your Mecklenburg County, your Wake County, your Durham counties, where you have Charlotte, where you have Raleigh, where you have Durham, and Greensboro, and so Winston-Salem, Asheville. And so the exciting thing about what I will do, a good indication of what somebody will do is to look at what they have done when they had that capacity to be able to serve. I served 8 counties in northeastern North Carolina, which were a component of Senate District 3. And then in 2018, the maps were redrawn and I represented 6 counties, but they were a geographically larger area. And so when you look at the tier 1 counties that I served, all 8 of my counties were tier 1. However, between my tenure, between 2015 and 2020, they improved in economic disparity, meaning they became less economically distressed. And that was primarily because of legislation and policies that I was able to advance that addressed the rural and urban divide. As an engineer, I'm very familiar with re-engineering policies and re-engineering criteria so that they have more efficacy in the rural centers and work better in the rural areas like they work in our urban centers. Right. And so with some of our economic development programs, we have 4 economic development tools in North Carolina. One is called JDIG, which is like a jobs development investment grant. And the other is a promotion of, it's called 1NC. And it provides funding for small businesses to be able to expand their workforce. So, 12 jobs in a poor rural county like Northampton is the equivalent of 100 jobs in Mecklenburg County. And so when you're able to look at your economic tools and your investments to promote those opportunities so that you can have the economic development across the state, that will stop the exodus of people leaving the rural area just because they want to be able to have access. Right. I mean, how do you work at home if you don't have internet connectivity? How do you go to school?
So vital.
Or better yet, how you work at home and you're homeless because there's no affordable housing.
Right.
So one of the things real quickly of what I will do is I will continue to work to support Representative Jim Clyburn. About 8 years ago, came up with the 10-20-30 plan. And what that 10-20-30 plan said is that we will look at those counties across this nation where you have 10% of every government spending bill or budget must invest where you have 20% of the population who has lived at poverty for the last 30 years. So that's why they call it the 10-20-30. So when you're looking at your HUD appropriation, when you're looking at your USDA, when you're looking at your military spending bill and every other bill, federal spending bill that you have, if you are carving out 10% of those investments, that is what we need to springboard rural America, rural North Carolina, to make sure we can stop this exodus of people who have no opportunities.
Right.
So many times, our college students leave and they don't have anywhere to come back to. And, I'm very blessed because Northampton County, I was born in Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, on a military base. And then, my parents and our family traveled all around the world. And then we settled in Northampton County when he retired on the family farm. And the farm went in the red, but it was the hardest work. It gave me a great work ethic and understanding. But there's no place like home. And I really, truly wanted to come back here and make this a better place. But it makes no sense that, I left Washington, D.C. and Seattle, Washington, and I was on high-speed internet, high-speed searching, doing my high-tech job, and then come home to Northampton County, and I'm on dial-up internet. I was like, oh my God, I was on a graduate program. And dude, I had to suspend my graduate studies because I said, and this makes no sense that we don't have this investment, and it's been 20 years. And so that's what we need, a 10-20-30 plan, but we really need to have those targeted and systematic investments so that we can help close that rural-urban divide, but make the rural areas somewhere where people can have livelihood and have access to a better economy.
Right. Thank you, Erica. Casey, what you got? I know you're not getting a breath here.
No, so real quick, this will be your breath real quick. So before I get into my questions, I just want to say to everybody tuning in, thank you everybody for tuning in. The chat is on fire right now. But to get to my point, this is why you need to know who's in office in your state. Somebody like this that actually has been through some of the things that the regular person goes through. She has the experience. She runs into the same issues that the normal person would run in. And someone like that, someone that has that level of understanding, which is taken for granted nowadays, but someone that understands the people, someone that understands the issues that normal, regular, everyday people go through. We need people like that in Congress, in the Senate, in the House, across the board. And so everything you said it's motivating, to see somebody like that represent North Carolina. That's awesome that your experiences, your life lessons, and all of that, being a teacher, that's, I'm not saying that's the typical experience for everybody, but just how you approach it, the issues that you come with the high-speed internet, that's, everybody has situations like that. And so for you to recognize that and then say, you know what, we need to make sure we have policy, we have things in place that will help people in this exact situation. So I just had to make that apparent, and knowing who that is in a person like you. Again, for everybody in North Carolina, this is a candidate of the people. She has the same struggles, she goes through the same things, faces the same hurdles, and to have somebody in Congress that understands that definitely has to be empowering. And then 4 terms, 5 terms, need I say less? But with that being said, I will get into my questions. I actually had to, in the spur of the moment, switch one of mine because you actually answered it.
I'm sorry.
You answered it. No, that's fine.
Great.
That's fine. You
great.
I was just like, oh, let me just, yeah. let me scratch that one off. But no, that is totally fine. And again, like that just shows the level of you understand what's going on. You know what people face. So it's amazing. So do have a kind of a backup question. So I will begin mine as well. So my first question is, there have been a lot of um, uh, mass shootings, unfortunately, before the pandemic. Again, right after, a mass shooting yesterday, unfortunately. Um, how will you, if elected, what will you do to push, better gun legislation? Or how will you get that message across to people who say, "Oh, you're going to take my guns"? Like, what is your messaging, or how will
No.
you get that across?
Well, I certainly have co-sponsored legislation that provides for universal background checks, banning rapid fire, large stock ammunition, um, and banning assault rifles, bump stocks, but also having some sort of limitation on the rapid fire ammunition that can be bought. I certainly believe that this is a crisis in our country. We have to address these mass shootings and how they are taking away so many innocent lives that can be saved with some common sense gun reform and gun legislation. And people always talk about, "Oh, well, I don't want you to interfere with my Second Amendment," right? I said, your Second Amendment has nothing to do with you being able to carry out an assault rifle. And we are not quartering soldiers. This is not a militia. And so,
Right?
Right.
I live in a community where hunting is a heritage, and so I have siblings who hunt and uncles who hunt, and one of my sisters loves hunting, and so we understand that there's the hunting heritage, but that has nothing to do with putting fail stops in place so that we can put an end to these mass shootings. We need to have red flag laws that people because sometimes people who have they have a gun, they have ownership, but there are times in times of mental incapacity where we need to have something, a fail safe in place where that gun can be removed to keep them safe and keep everyone else safe. And so if we look at banning assault rifles, putting limitations on the rapid fire, banning bump stops, having universal background checks with the 10-day waiting periods, closing those loopholes in that happen from time to time in gun safety and gun shows. And I said, it's the 21st century. Now we need to look at smart guns and looking at, takes facial recognition for me to be able to use my iPhone. We can look at, for those who have guns that are in households with children, maybe we could looking at ways that we can make them safer, and so that children can't get access to it. So I believe that those are some common sense measures that the vast majority of Americans support. And that's certainly something that should be passed, and should be passed in this Congress. And if it doesn't pass in the present Congress, I will work very hard, my darndest, to pass it when I get there in 22.
Yes.
Nice. That's excellent. Excellent. Because, it's just so disheartening.
It is.
It really is. Anyway, not to digress, I will get into my second question. Native American issues. Is this something that a lot of people talk about, other than, of course, some people may talk about Thanksgiving, and that's what, the most that people may know of Native Americans, or, some of the issues that they've been through. If elected, what will you do to kind of bring some of their issues and their message and their voice to the forefront? Do you have anything that you can do?
Yes, I have a strong working relationship with First Americans. I call them First Americans. They were here before we were. And some of the issues that I've worked to support is making sure that there is a recognition process that is supportive of Native Americans, First Americans. I've worked with several tribes in North Carolina for them to not only get that statewide recognition, but to also support getting that federal recognition for those tribes that do apply. And when we really ask the question, do you know what is startling? I currently work in an Indigenous community. I work in the only Indigenous school that has existed since 1951. And it was for Halawassaponi Tribal School, which is a tribe that we have, that's a statewide recognized tribe in North Carolina. And so what I have found in talking to my neighbors and people in the community, that, Native Americans are the only ones who have to prove their identity and their recognition and their lineage with their identification card. Y'all, how ridiculous is that? That's like, okay, make sure I got my slave papers, right?
Right.
That is so insulting. It is so very insulting. And the only way they have access to whatever government carve-outs and programs is they have to prove their heritage. And so I believe that we've had so much cultural misappropriation that we really have to deal with systemic discrimination, including that we perpetuate on Native American communities. Native Americans showed up and voted in this last election cycle.
Yes, they did.
I am so glad to see that energy, and more people are coming off the sidelines and participating because they want government to work better for them. And so I will be looking and analyzing the programs, the current existing policies. There are still many impediments into the recognition process. And I feel that, like reparations, there is something to be said about that compensation of being deprived and being denied of your land and your culture. And we have to have a reckoning of that. And so we have included components of that in our racial justice policy. And so as part of that component, I will be pushing for those initiatives, just like reparations, but having a better process and a more respectful process for marginalized communities.
Right.
I did not know they had to show that's crazy.
Yeah, they have to show their identification and trace their lineage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
America.
So for my last question, again, another kind of high profile topic, I guess, or a topic that's being spoken mainstream news. It's starting to make a lot of, get a lot of people's opinions. And so my last question for you is, the fight over allowing trans girls to participate in sports is very heated right now. You've had people like Caitlyn Jenner that just spoke on it a couple weeks ago. We have people in Congress. What are your thoughts on that? If you agree with not allowing them, or if you do agree with allowing, what are your thoughts?
Well, for me, I've always had a strong support and policy for LGBTQ. Transgender communities take so much hate, discrimination, humiliation, and even, Black trans women are the highest population of those who are murdered and acts of violence. And so we certainly need to provide expansion of rights, expansion of opportunities for LGBTQ community. I am of a position that if you have changed your gender identification and provided that, there's certain hormonal levels, I do not see a problem with that. I think that though that is a decision that should be made by those who are most impacted. And that's a decision, I'm always going to take the position of not codifying discrimination, regardless of who you are. whether it's your gender identification, your, your sexuality, your preference, the color of your skin, whether or not you're pregnant or nursing, the type of hair you wear, and everything else. I just really feel like we should be more inclusive. But when it comes down to the actual issue of Title IX, there are issues with Title IX as it is. Women's sports are not supported the way men's sports are supported. There's so much work to do. And in that work that's to be done, we need to provide more equity and more opportunities for all genders.
Right.
Excellent. I agree.
Me too.
Well, that's all of the questions that I have. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering. Thank you. Anything else you got, Miss Quest?
Do we have time for the lightning round,
Yeah,
Erica?
how are you?
I know we're right
Yes.
okay.
Look, we have time for the lightning round.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
Let's go. First question. Would you rather be invisible or have super strength, and why?
I would rather have super strength, because with super strength, I would be strong enough to close every learning gap for all of my students. So regardless of your zip code or where you came from, you would have the same opportunities as the children in the affluent areas. I would hope that I could be strong enough to close that rural-urban divide and make sure that we can have economic development and opportunities for everyone, no matter if you choose to live in the rural east, the rural west, or any other parts in between.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Oh, well, maybe this is like a Gil King question. First celebrity crush.
Oh,
my first celebrity crush. Oh my gosh. Y'all, my first celebrity crush, and I still have that picture in my photo album. I was in love with Michael Jordan. I was so in love with Michael Jordan. I had
North Carolina
up in my room when I went to a residential high school for gifted students in the 11th and 12th grade. And in my room was just Michael Jordan.
Nice. I mean, he's the man. That's MJ right there.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite junk food.
Favorite junk food, popcorn.
Least favorite junk food.
Least favorite junk food. Is there a least favorite junk food? No such thing. I cannot think of a least favorite. Well, exactly. I would have to say cheeseburgers because I don't eat beef.
Okay.
That is a least favorite junk food.
Okay.
That's gross. Let's see. The fastest speed you've ever driven.
Okay, but this was long before I was a public servant. And I used bathroom really bad. I was trying not to have an accident on the highway. And on these country roads, oh my gosh, you go 25 miles before you get to a store.
Yeah.
And so I think I drove at least, I would say 83, 84, just trying to make it.
Look at you.
Yo.
Pay the water.
Okay. If you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Oh wow. If I could ask God one question, it would be, hey, how is my baby boy doing? I lost a son 5 years old. His name was Raymond Elias. And so he transitioned in 2012. And I know that he is having a ball on Heaven's Playground, but I would just ask God to check in on him and let me know how he's doing.
That's awesome. All right. Last question, because I know you have to go. If you could change any law or legislation, what would it be?
There are so many. Do I have to narrow it down to one? I would, if there was one piece of legislation that I could change, if it could only be one, I would require every current legislator to have to experience policies from the perspective of the average working American. And so I would want them to have to work for $7.25 an hour and to see how they're able to balance their bills. I would want them to have to navigate a broken healthcare system and, you know, understand why we need Medicare for all. I would want them to just walk outside near the paper mill, or, you know, during one of these factories, or where you have hog lagoon and waste and the contamination. I would want them to have to walk a day just there so they can experience how these policies impact families, lives, and livelihood on the ground. And I'm glad you said that, Aaron. That's why our slogan is, you know, we're one of us, for all of us, we're one of us who's going to fight for us. But we have those lived experiences of everyday Americans, everyday North Carolinians. And we know what it is to struggle. We know what it is not to be able to make ends meet, have to ration your insulin, have to, you know, go bankrupt just to afford life-saving health care for your child. And so I would want them to be required to have to experience that, you know, for 30 days, 60 days, just to see how it would impact them.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard.
I wish that was so. I wish we could get that, because they need that. I'm sorry, not everybody, but just they need that. They have to experience what we experience. Because I say that when it comes to laws, and you definitely got to have experts and people who know how to navigate and things like that. But to really get a full understanding of laws, how it affects the people, you have to talk. You have not us, but you have to talk to us, the people, because we're the ones who are living it, breathing it, eating it every day. We feel the impact, whether it's a good law, bad law, or in between.
Right.
And to have someone like you that understands that, it is awesome. So,
yeah. Thank you, Erica. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before you go, we want you to tell everyone where they can find you, join the team, chip in, because it is so important that we support all of the Democratic candidates, because you guys can't do it alone. You know, it's something that we preach all the time, that you guys need support. You know, campaigns need donations, no matter how small, $1, $2, $5, like for it to, for us to get you to the finish line. So.
Well, thank you so much. And I just want to share that we do not take any corporate PAC money. We don't take special interest money. We rely 100% on grassroots donors, just like people like you, people like me. As a public school educator, as a minister, you know, I don't have a large network of people with high net worths, for lack of a better way to put it. And so people say, well, I don't have a whole lot of money. If you don't have a whole lot of money, don't give me a whole lot of money, just a little bit of money. And if all of us put our money together, we can change the direction of this nation by sending people like me who are going to be willing to roll up their sleeves and carry you with me to Washington, D.C. And this is for the entire nation. The U.S. Senate impacts the entire nation. So if you want a progressive, you want a true progressive who's going to fight for you and make sure that the government works better for all of us and not just the wealthy and the well-connected, then you need to text 51550, 51550. That is our text number. That's how you can get updates from the campaign. Our website is www.ericaforus.com. I am one of us for all of us. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and stay connected to the campaign. We would love for you to do recurring donations if you're able. If you put together, you know, 100,000 people donate $20, just that would be $2 million, and we will be well on our way. And so that's our ask of you, to get to know us, allow us to get to know you, and stay updated on the campaign. And this is for the people. This is for all of us, as this is What's Up People News. We need to take this country in a better direction.
Yes, we do.
I'm Erica Smith, and so glad to meet you.
Yes, thank you, Erica. Thank you for
thank you.
carving out some time. We appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
Everyone in the chat, you guys stay. Erica, thank you so much. We're
Thank
going to
you.
end it, or we're going to close
Yeah.
out. Okay.
Yeah, we'll close
Thank
out.
you,
We'll close out.
Erica.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Y'all
All
Thank
take care.
you.
right. Bye-bye. Hello.
People.
Hi,
There you go, people.
guys.
I mean, you
Well,
heard it. You heard it,
give us a thumbs up and subscribe,
right?
guys, and share, because that was a great interview. Erica is all that we thought she would be and more.
Yes.
Mhm.
Y'all got to hit the like button, subscribe. That was, she is of the people, and that's our message. That's all we've all talked about
Right.
day one.
Right.
Having somebody in office that represents you, and you can't get no more represented than that. We don't
Right.
even live in North Carolina, people.
Mhm.
And like, if you live in North Carolina and she's running for office in your district, that's someone that you can get behind. She,
Right.
the issues that you go through. You heard it herself, So we that's our message. Vote for someone that represents you and the issues that matter.
Right.
And for people in North Carolina, that's a local issue. She represents you guys. So I hope that when you see her name on the ballot, that you guys definitely go out there and vote for her. We'll make sure to have some of the links to her websites and things like that where you can follow her, get more information about other things on her platform.
Yeah.
Because there's more issues that she stands for that we only can get to a couple. So
Right.
definitely, like,
Right.
there's like her list of things that she stands for, her platform. She is really putting in that work. We'll
Yeah,
have
North
links for you
Carolina,
guys.
you guys are very fortunate to have her. So, vote for her. Go out and vote,
Yeah,
support her. Let's send her to the Senate, because sending her to the Senate will help us all, because those
yes,
ideas that she has, she's going to take those ideas with her. So that helps all of us. It's not just about North Carolina, it's about
hmm
all of us. So, yeah,
and because again, it goes back to she.
So can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. She, and like Lana said, not just affecting North Carolina, but now she could combat those Republicans who trying to stop issues that affect the people like Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema,
Right.
supposed to be Democrats, and they're not. They're standing in the way of progress,
Right.
and having somebody like that just adds to our side to make sure that the legislation she wants, that everybody can agree on, whether you're in North Carolina, California, Seattle, Washington, down in
Right.
Florida. Like,
Right.
we can all agree on these issues and we can get these laws passed because we have people that understand what we go through and the issues that we face. So that's all I got. Anything you want to say for
No, like that was a great interview. And, you guys pay attention, keep watching us, because we're going to have some more surprises in the coming weeks. You hear it here first. You guys want to know about these politicians and these people who are running for office, senators, district seats. Keep it locked in here. We're going to have them right here for you guys.
There it is. Yo,
Yeah.
like, subscribe, hit that button. Please let everybody know.
Yes. Thank you, everyone in the chat too. Thank you in the chat. The chat, there's a lot going on in there. We didn't get a chance to go through the chat. But thanks, everyone. Thanks, Michelle, Mary, Keiko, I Deliver. Thank you for dropping in there. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you. You guys are the best. You rock. You make the show great. But yeah, pass this video along. Again, if you're in North Carolina, please share this. If you know Charlamagne, tell him to share this too. We gotta get her. We gotta get her to yo.
Yeah, it's true.
Dope.
Right before we go, it's not 8:00 quite yet. What happened in the news today? Maybe we get some quick news going on. Today, I know 12-year-olds could get vaccinated, 12 to 15. That started today. I got my daughter signed up. She is going to be vaccinated tomorrow. She is not happy, but it is happening. What else happened in the news?
Liz Cheney got outed from the
Yes.
Republican leadership. And please, everybody, yes, what she did to stand up against Trump and say what he did is wrong, it's a lie. Yes, applaud her for that. But remember, other than that, she voted for everything he did. Everything. She was right. She was third. All right.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Don't put her high up too much. Just be like, what you're doing for this, yes, it's a lie. The election's over.
Right. But she was okay with all the rest of the lies. It's so confusing. It's like, so the bigotry and the racism, you were good with that, but
you cool with that, right? That was cool. That was,
but I guess the Democrats may be trying to use her. Maybe they're just going to be trying to go onto her side and say, hey, since Manchin's, not voting with us, how about you vote with us? That'll be the ultimate.
She's still in office. She just got outed of her leadership. So.
Yeah, maybe we can get her to vote on something. Just to stick it to them. Like, don't you want to stick it to McCarthy and Mitch McConnell? Don't you want to just stick it to them? Sign right here and vote for this voting act and the George Floyd bill. Nah, you don't have to read it. Just hit yay.
Right.
We just need you to hit the yay button. That's all. No.
Just hit the yay.
So that did happen this week. I don't know if anything else really.
Yes.
I'm sure there's stuff we're missing.
Everybody, I just want to say violence in general is bad, regardless of who's doing it. I'm not trying to both sides, nothing. Violence in general is bad, but a lot is going on in Israel and the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. Hamas has been firing rockets. Israel has been firing rockets. A lot of people, a lot of women, innocent children, unfortunately have been passing, and it's crazy right now. I'll try to make sure I have links to those, to what's going on in Israel, to what Ms. Quest said, and what I was just talking about. But that's all I can remember. That's off the top of the head. That's really heightening the news.
Right. I'm sure we're missing something, guys, but we're running short on time, and you guys have been here for an hour listening to us, so I'm pretty sure y'all want to go. Tomorrow's Friday.
Right. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Now, guys, have a good weekend. Thanks for coming on again. Share this show, please. Erica is great. We want people to get to know her. We want people to donate to her campaign. So please, please, please hit that notification bell, because we got some other special guests coming at the end of the month. And we'd love for you guys to join us here. And that's it.
All right. Yeah. Other than that, y'all have a great rest of the day and week. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah. Thank you, usual suspects. Bye-bye.
Peace.